3 boys. What is the youngest one now?
The youngest just turned 1.
Whoa. That's busy.
Birthday party tomorrow. That's what
Aw.
I like now. I'm
Birthday
putting together
parties.
my big Friday night is putting together a balloon arch tonight.
I mean, you know what? You're gonna be mom of the year though.
I'm down for it. I'm very
I'll accept my
happy.
trophy.
Yes.
I should probably go to Hobby Lobby and
Yeah,
get
absolutely.
that together. So at Stagecoach, you're talking about outdoor. Of course, is it Indio, California? So
Indio,
it's
California,
Indio.
yeah.
It's a little cooler. But
Thank God this year. Thank you so much. It was slightly cooler,
Yeah.
but it was still I was playing stage, so I went on at 3 o'clock, black stage, middle of the day, and I just was like
shouldn't they
still
make those,
pouring
like,
sweat.
light blue or something? So
You would think.
this is the business of country music is parties, hanging
Yeah.
out. We were talking about this the other day. As an artist, are you drinking those days, or are you like, this is a marathon?
I
We
mean,
gotta do some electrolytes.
oh yeah, there's definitely
strategy.
IVs happening in between for sure. Like my favorite activity is going to get an IV. I
and
swear.
there's relief stations
Yes.
for artists.
Yeah, so a lot of festivals have those. I just played Cavendish Festival in Canada, and they had IVs on site, and that's like my favorite part about festivals. I'm like, all right, let's get fueled up.
Like for the fans and stuff.
Yeah. I mean, they have to like pay for it, stuff
Yeah.
like that. But usually they have like an artist section. So yeah.
So I mean, like, and Jay knows fitness and staying on top of his game.
Yes.
This is something you guys probably share in kind of relating.
He
that to
is
your
way better at
performances.
it than I am.
Why?
I just like, I don't know. He's actually been sober for 3 months now. It's like not like a permanent thing. He's just like I needed a break, you
Yeah.
know. And so he's like, well, instead of going out and hanging out with everybody or whatever, he's like, I'm just gonna go to the gym.
So that's the alternative.
So that's the alternative.
Yeah.
Him and his buddies go to the
Is
gym.
there a little group?
Yep.
See, it's the
He's
same- could be
now
the
like
same
making
thing.
a football club. They're gonna start like playing
Fantasy
football games
football.
in August. No, like
Oh,
really
playing.
playing flag football. Yeah.
Okay.
Like intensely.
So is when you talk about the world of being at festivals or drinking, hanging out. Hey, first of all, let's ask it this way: have you ever performed the anthem?
Yes, I just recently, about 4 months ago, I got to sing the anthem in front of like 75,000 people at the Bengals game.
Which game?
In Cincinnati at the Bengals game.
Nice.
It was so amazing. It was so funny.
Who set that up?
It was actually so weird side story. My guitarist is in this parody band called the Bengal Boys.
Okay.
And they redo these like insanely popular songs, but put like all the players as like the lyrics.
And so they're fans.
Fans.
Yes.
And so the Bengal Boys actually, they got reached out to by this person that works with the Bengals. He saw that Dylan works with me and asked to connect us to for me to sing the anthem.
Yes.
Jay happened to be free that week, so he came with me.
He's like, I'll be your plus one.
Yeah, he was like, oh darn. But literally, I got off the field and he was like sweating, so nervous, and I was like,
For
are you?
you?
Yeah. I was like, are you okay?
That's a good husband.
He goes, I sing the anthem all the time. I'm fine. When you sing the anthem, I'm over here like a sweating puddle.
Yeah.
Like he was so
And
nervous.
so what makes the anthem a hard song to sing?
Well, first of all, it's
For
America's
most.
song.
Yes,
So like,
amen.
if you mess it up, like
And there's some iconic mess ups.
there is some iconic mess ups. And for me, I think that it's like such a symbol of, as a performer, you're representing America in this
Yeah.
moment. So it's like a lot of pressure,
Yeah.
you know. But it's also like for me, it's a song I've been singing for years, ever since I was
around
a kid.
here.
So yeah, exactly.
There was
all
a
the
time
rodeos.
we MC'd the Stockyards parade once, and then whoever was going to do the anthem didn't show up. Said, Owen, go ahead and do it. So what I realized in that moment, because I agreed to it, sure, whatever.
Yeah.
People stop and listen.
Uh-huh.
You know, you do, even if it's a great cover song, or even
Yep.
if it's one of your songs you're singing along to. On that one, it's like a pin drop.
It
There's
really
1,000
is.
people, and it's like, wow. Was
Yeah.
it that way at the Bengals game?
Oh my God! It was honestly one of my favorite moments. I've never performed in front of that many people at once.
Yeah.
And it was a sold out game, so every seat was filled. And I was just like, I can't believe this many people are either gonna see me mess this up or see me do okay.
You had that thought?
I mean, it's a little bit entering in your mind. You can't help it.
Yeah. The coach is a Norman guy. He
Yeah.
went to some school in Norman.
Look at
From what
that.
at the Bengals. So, with Ingrid Andress, can you see where nerves mixed with maybe this will help me feel better, mixed with maybe already an issue? kind of
Yes.
made a bad recipe?
That was harsh. That was a rough one to watch. I know Ingrid personally, and it just, we're all human beings, and we all make mistakes.
Yeah.
But when you have a mistake that is aired on live television, it just kind of really puts you in a harsh spot, just for
Yeah.
everybody and everything. So
The term, like, there's no such thing as bad press.
Mm-hmm.
But is there a caveat when it comes to doing that to the anthem?
I mean,
Or
if you
is
think
this-
about it, there is one way to look at it. She's never been more famous than she is right now.
I
So
mean,
let's
really?
we'll take that,
Yeah.
okay? But I don't know, for me, I have just been working my whole life doing this, and my legacy and what I want to leave is so important to me, and I would rather just keep that and take the long way around than, like, have a moment like that.
So
But you gotta
handling,
do what you gotta do.
as an artist, I mean, she came right out. She owned it.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, do you put yourself in shoes like that?
I
Not
mean,
wanting to be in shoes like that, but if you ever find yourself in a position of,
for me,
how would I handle it?
I just, I surround myself with people that would be like, hey, no, you can't go out there and do that.
That's what we were wondering. Who was with her?
I don't know. I know my manager would not have allowed that to
Yeah.
happen. So
And your mom wouldn't.
Oh, my mom for sure
She's right
wouldn't.
here.
Yeah, literally. So she would be like, absolutely not. So that was my second question. I was like, who's her team there, and
Yeah.
why would they let that happen?
It's a big thing.
Oh, you also, that's the point of hiring people around you to take
Yeah.
care of you in moments
Yeah.
like that. We can't be on 24/7, and when we do make a mistake, we're supposed to have a team that's like, hey, no,
Yeah,
or we're
this
gonna
is-
drag you here, do this.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
So there's, the whole feeling like you're in that position of the making it, made it world.
Mm-hmm.
Do you feel like you're in the shoes of, we're there? Or is there a sense of continually climbing? Where's the drive, and where are you at right now in your mind?
I will never say I've made it, because
Yeah.
I feel like if you do, that's when you get comfortable, and that's
Yeah.
when the 100,000 people behind you that's ready to take your spot is
Yes.
And so also, like, for me, music is not just a job, or it's not a destination. Like, it's something that I live, eat, and breathe, and just, I can't imagine not doing it. So I forever want to have these goals that I can get to. And I just turned 29 years old, and I look back and I'm like, I thought that I would be way further along than I am right now. But also a different perspective is that I am just now getting to do all these huge moments at 29 that I thought would have happened a long time ago, and enjoying it in this time of my life is a really cool thing.
Isn't it funny to look at a perspective like that? Because, I mean, everyone gets a little nervous close to their 30s and has thoughts like that. Right?
Absolutely.
But then you think maybe the timing is more in tune with where it needs to be than I realized.
Absolutely. Faith is my everything, and I think God's timing is way better than mine.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong, I get very frustrated when something doesn't happen
Come on, yeah.
sooner than I want it to happen, or later
Yeah.
than I want it to happen, but I do know that when it happens, I look back and I'm like, wow, I'm so glad that waited to happen.
Wait, is there a situation you're glad it didn't happen when there's a situation you wanted to happen?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I signed my first record deal when I was 14.
Yeah.
And, I was promised pretty much stadiums by 19 is what the goal was, the thought was, the promise was. And so that's what I thought was going to happen. And now I look back and I'm like, thank God
Yeah,
I was
no,
not doing that
yes.
10 years ago.
I think I remember that.
For real. I was not ready.
Your inner circle of, like, family and friends, was there ever a sense of, why did we go that route, or what? I mean, obviously, when you're promised things, you're in a position where you want to do it.
Yeah.
Or there wasn't a regret in that situation, right? Or did you,
No.
enough came out of it in a good sense?
Yeah, it taught me everything. Your past, for me, it's like it can either happen to you or happen for you.
Mm-hmm.
And I went through a lot of negative things, but it also taught me so much, and
Yeah.
it fast forwarded me and my experiences, and the goals that I knew I wanted to reach with different people
Yeah.
and with a different situation around me. But I learned so much from it, and I definitely don't regret anything because it led me to right here.
Sure. And that being major record deal, being in a circle of people who kind of have your best interest in mind strategically, right? When you think of Nashville and that atmosphere, how has that shaped you compared to being an Okie doing this? What's the difference? What's the different Kylie Morgan Nashville version versus Newcastle, Oklahoma?
Well, for me, what's crazy is the fact that, like, I always had this plan in my head of, okay, you move to Nashville, You sign a publishing deal so you can get paid to write songs. The
Yeah.
dream is you sign a record deal, and then you have it all figured out, and you're good. You're done. Like
Yeah.
the hard part's done.
Check.
No,
Really?
not the case at all. When I signed my record deal, that was like, it was actually a go time of now it's time to work harder, be more relevant, make better music, be good at marketing, and then do all these things. And so now I feel like we're actually in a cool time because no one will work harder for you than you.
Yeah.
And now I realize that even like when it comes to my management, my booking agent, you find these people that are your champions, and as long as they're in place, you're like, okay, I'm good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what, the role you played all your life is big sister for most of your life. How have you seen that adapt? Because now you have a young adult sister.
Yes.
Because that's been a relationship that I've seen over the years is kind of special.
Oh, she's my best friend. She's just the best.
Did she like half the time in Nashville with you, or?
I wish.
She probably wishes.
I tried to convince her to go to Belmont so much. She's going to OU this year, but
Bummer
she definitely needed that in between time of college and adulthood and being away from mom and dad.
And you, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
And so for me, I was 19. I was like, all right, let's pack the car full of thrift store furniture, head to Nashville and go for it. And I think she definitely needed that buffer year.
Yeah, hit the brakes.
But yeah, being a big sister, I think is the coolest job ever. And it's actually been so cool because so many of my fans have kind of named me that, the big sister in country music, especially
Yeah.
with If He Wanted to, He Would, when that,
Yep.
did what it did. It was definitely all the things that I needed to hear when I was going through a bad
Yeah.
relationship. And so I kind of became this mentor without even knowing it. And it's just been a really cool thing to see how you affect so many people that you don't even know.
Yeah, and you see it in a positive light in that sense. You also having a partner in crime essentially as your champion.
Yes.
There's some relationships that could be in Nashville or any kind of industry and maybe struggle in that sense with one in the other direction. Where do you guys find a balance in all of that, you and Jay?
It's a continued learning experience.
Yeah.
We are
Marriage.
still, yes. Every day we're still learning. We still make mistakes,
Yeah.
but we, at the end of the day, to be able to come home to someone that understands all of your frustrations, that
Yeah.
0.00001% of the world knows.
Yes.
It's pretty great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
To have because you could almost feel alone in that sense if you
absolutely.
didn't have that perspective.
Yes.
Yeah. And how long have you guys been married?
We just got married, a year and a half
2022?
ago. Yep.
After didn't COVID mess something up?
No, it was a hurricane.
Oh, there.
So
Well, that's a
very
good start to a
similar.
marriage.
I know, it was
Yes.
you know what they say, if it rains on your wedding day, it's good luck. I'm like, a hurricane, we
What is
better
that?
be stuck together forever.
Yes. The whole navigating married life and family life is tough for anyone.
Oh,
much
yeah.
less being in the public eye. In a sense.
And never seeing each other.
Yeah.
That
Where
is
is
a
he?
lot.
Is he back in Nashville?
He's in Nashville right now. Yep.
Yeah.
But he has a performance tomorrow night in Nashville, which is
Sure.
why he's not here. So
Nice. So for you in songwriting, we were talking the other day about journaling and how that's big. Is that something you do in getting ideas down constantly, or what? What's the
honestly,
perspective there?
for me, it's been a continuous sometimes I feel like I seem rude because I'll be in the middle of a conversation and someone will say something and I'm like,
Really?
yeah, so then I'm like, I promise I'm not on my phone texting. I just you said something great that needs to be a song. And so that's kind of where I get my
Do
inspiration.
they give you their tax information then? To have,
They're smart, they should.
how does that work? If someone has the hook and then you wrote it, it's like,
I mean, it's more
was
one
in
of
the
those
air.
things where with songwriting, you all set up a time. Songwriting is so weird in Nashville. You set up a time, you look on your phone that day, and it's 11 a.m. with two names that you either know or you don't know.
Yeah.
You show up to an address that you probably have never been before,
Yeah.
and you walk in and you're like, okay, well, I guess I'm just gonna pour my heart out to these strangers and write a very personal song.
Yeah.
It's kind of crazy.
Is it a therapy session?
Oh,
in a way?
yes.
But with strangers.
For real. Honestly, I think it's better that way because it's they
That's
have
true.
such
I may never
a
see this person.
outside perspective,
Yeah.
you know.
Have you come out of sessions that may never be heard, but I needed that?
Yes.
Really?
Yes.
And does that keep you going?
Absolutely.
That makes you want to do more, I guess, in a sense?
Yeah, I just wrote a song.
You're fine.
I wrote a song not too long ago with Walker Hayes.
Yeah.
And, I walked out of that session and I was like, there's only very few people that I would trust to write what I needed to write. And he's known me since I was 15 years old.
Yeah.
And yeah, it was one of those times I walked out of the session and I'm like, I don't know if this will ever be heard, but like I needed this today.
And did you tell him that? What was the response when you said that to him? What did he say?
I think that he was honored that I only wanted to write it with someone that was very close to me, but also he wanted to like give a new perspective as well in the artistic way, but also in just the friend way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's, I mean, with what, like 6 kids, and being, I think a guy who has kids and can still be that cool.
I know, right?
Where does he have a seminar I could go to?
Like, also, he never ages.
I know.
Like, ever.
He tends to age backwards.
Yeah, Benjamin Button.
Benjamin Button type guy. And has that been written down as a song?
It should be.
I'll give you my tax information.
Perfect.
So I feel like when you saved one of our shows at Riverwind.
Oh my gosh, that was so fun.
It was out of left field and very needed. But I feel like you're home here as in Newcastle a lot, right?
Yes.
At like any chance, why is that? Is that because the family's still here, or what keeps you coming back?
My family.
Yeah.
I am very like family oriented, and the road I'm doing 90 million things a minute, and I'm around a bajillion people, but
Yeah.
it can get lonely. And coming back home just kind of like recenters me,
Sure.
regrounds me, so I can like fill up my cup and go again.
And I mean, however necessary, many times that is a year, I guess. And is that kind of where the song about your mom came from recently?
Yeah. So Rayleigh just went off to college. You know, I've been gone for almost 10 years, and Mom is an empty nester for the first time, and she's like, "What do I do with my hands?" You know,
Yeah.
like I know I've always been raising you guys.
Yes.
And so I think that she kind of like came to this realization of like, okay, now what do I do with my life? And I wanted to like write this song that was a sense of hope, because she is one of the smartest people I know and continues to just blow me away all the time. She's sitting over here too, so that's gonna
Within
give my
earshot.
daughter points up. But I just wanted to write a song for a sense of hope, because I feel like a lot of moms feel like that when
Yeah.
you know they send their kids off, and now the baby birds are out of the nest, and they're like, well, now what am I supposed to do?
Yeah.
So that's where Scratching the Surface.
How has she handled it?
I think you're pretty good. Are you pretty good? All right,
You're
she's
next,
good.
by the way.
I'm like, oh no, maybe we should ask her. How are you handling it?
Do you see yourself filling shoes that she's been in sometime in the future?
Not for me. I don't
Really?
think so.
No kids.
Um,
Don't you love it when people ask that? Because you
Oh,
get
I don't
married.
mind.
No, but I'm saying, but when we first got married, me and Kelsey, it was like, so when are you gonna have?
Oh
kids?
my God, immediately.
That's what and you're going. Well, that's a personal.
Like
question.
also like even when we just got engaged, they were like,
Yeah.
"Oh, when are you having kids?" I'm like, "Can we get married first?" Like,
Exactly.
Oh my God.
When you have one, you're like, well, when you can have another one.
Yeah.
And you're like, yes, you have 3. And they said, you know how this works, right?
Yeah.
You're going, shut up. Like this, anyway, there must be a
Oh
book
my
of
gosh.
what old people have
Especially
sayings.
in the southern way as
Yes.
well.
So no,
no
it's just
kids for us. We just we are so busy. We can barely even take care of our pups, to be honest. And I just feel like for us, I think it would be a little selfish to bring a child or something in this world that isn't going to be given the sort of attention that it needs from parents.
Yeah.
And we can't give that with our life.
And that's a bold decision. I mean, because that would be something like you mentioned, that a juggle or a hard thing to balance.
Yep.
So why would you throw them into that world?
Yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, I also think too, like, you know, I could wake up one day and be like, just kidding, but I don't know. I've said this since I was little. I've never felt the
Yeah.
need or the want. My music has always been my baby.
Yeah. And now that's a tattoo, right?
Yeah, but being an aunt's awesome.
Yes.
Because then you can spoil them and then return them.
It's the young hip version of a grandma, right?
Yeah.
I feel like, as you said, you just turned 29, but that almost is starting to become a kind of a norm.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have friends or anyone who are on that same path?
It's so funny. The second verse of Scratching the Surface talks about how my mom was 23 when she had me, and I was like, how? Like that'd be like me with the 5-year-old, and I'm like,
Yeah.
what would I do with it? Like,
Where
how
would
would
we
I
go?
take care
It
of
would be
it?
at Chuck E. Cheese.
Yeah, exactly. And so it like blows my mind that she was to that point, and then I posted that second verse not too long ago, and someone commented on it and was like, that's the normal age that women have kids, and I was like, let me check this. So I did a little
Yeah.
Googling. Now, actually, the normal age that women have kids is the end of 27.
Okay.
So it was like 22, 23, 5 years ago.
Yeah, okay.
And then it's slowly just gotten older and older and older.
Meanwhile, our grandparents were like 16.
Yeah, they're like,
married with 3
and popping
kids.
out.
Well, someone's got to run the show.
Someone's
or
got to do
something.
it.
Yeah. The sense of your career, is it everything you kind of expected it at this point? What's different about it that kind of came out of left field, and what?
No, it's nothing like I expected. I think that the more I tried to plan, the more that God was like, can you just let me drive,
Yeah.
And I have goals that I, continuously want to reach for, but I also I think that's what makes me an artist. Enough is never enough. I always want to create more and do more. But then I look back on, even the past couple years and the goals that I have been able to check off on my list, like doing my first arena tour, making my Grand Ole Opry debut, having a top 40 song at country radio, and like all these things. And I'm like, actually, Kylie, you're doing pretty good. Quit being so hard on yourself.
Well, but then you look at the people like yourself. That's what it takes to get to that point of having that sense of, we're not there yet.
Yeah.
When people are going, dang, there she is.
Yeah.
In a sense.
But I think that's also the part about me is I don't feel like I'll ever be there, because I'll always be striving towards something more,
Yeah.
and reaching for more and wanting to do more. But there's also a sense of like that will forever make me humble,
Yeah.
and I will never one day wake up and be like, I'm a superstar, and just
Yeah.
like acts ridiculous. I think that's a huge part of it.
And you can see where that could be a problem in
Yeah.
careers. What any mentors out there have given you advice in the industry that you might name?
Yeah, honestly, Walker has been
Yeah.
the first one, of course. But I would really say Old Dominion has shown me, when we did our stadium tour together, that how to treat a camp. Like when it comes down to it, I've opened for a lot of people and have not always had the best experiences. And then you go to this other tour, and who's usually they're a way bigger artists than a lot of these people that have not been so nice.
Yeah.
And they show you how to be at that level and do it well.
Yeah. How to handle it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And is it sometimes where they're from?
I think so,
Really?
but I think it's also, again, I think it goes back to the people that you surround yourself with.
Yeah.
I can see quite a few artists that are, around my age, and they tend to like just hire all their friends, and then no one tells them no, and then sooner or later they're like, they think they're untouchable, But for me, I know my manager alone is gonna be like, no.
Listen.
But that's what you need. You
Yeah.
need people to push you, and you need people to give you a different perspective, because you're so close to the music.
Sure. This would, hearing you talk, there's probably not like a backup plan even
No.
in the rear view at all.
No backup
Right?
plan.
Because that's that sense of, well, there's something to fall back on or whatever.
Yeah, no, this is it. No plan B. I have never had a backup plan. No.
Yeah.
I think that's the key to success, though.
I agree.
To not.
Don't have a backup.
Yeah. I think that the biggest thing for me when I realized as a young child that I wanted to do this for a living, and as soon as I started getting success, I had so many young artists message me or come to me and say, what advice do you have for someone that's trying to do what you're doing? And my first question is always, can you see yourself doing anything else in the entire world that will bring you happiness, that you would be happy
That's a
doing?
good question.
And half of them say yes, and then I'm like, well, this is not for you then.
Yeah.
It's not a choice.
I always had the perspective of when I lived out there for a year and a half, it was a hobby here at home, out in Nashville, or pursuing anything. When it became a career, and the guy called me to play Tootsies, and I rolled my eyes like, I don't want to do this again.
Yeah.
When you have to do it again,
Yep.
that's when this is not,
Yeah.
we need to do something else.
I mean, I was a gymnast for 10 years all growing up, and I had the conversation with myself when I was 10. I'm like, I'm not good enough to go to the Olympics. Like, this
You
isn't
have to
going to
come
happen.
to some sort of realization.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
it turns out more people go to the Olympics and succeed as a female country music artist, so joke's on me.
It's a fact. It's a fact.
But hey, I think we all have a purpose, and for me, I know in my heart and soul that this is my purpose, whatever that looks like long term, whatever it looks like tomorrow or the next day, I'll never stop fighting the fight.
But we're in an unusual time of young millennials or Gen Z or whatever. It's like it's a claw and a climb to try to find that purpose.
Man, I mean, when you have the world at your fingertips,
Right.
and that you see so many people your age succeeding at TikTok, succeeding at, these things that are really not real jobs, you would think, 5 years ago.
Exactly.
I mean, it's hard for anyone to be like, oh yeah, I guess I'll go to college and like do the normal route of adulting,
Sure. Which the term adulting.
Adulting is hard. It's a real life thing. I still am not good at it. I'm still learning.
Kevin.
Yes.
His perspective is he rolls his eyes so hard at adulting. But he's 55. He says it's just called getting up and doing work.
See,
But
I don't
it's
know.
It's a challenge.
I
It can
figured
be.
out a job that is work that
Yeah.
I have a freaking blast at. So.
Yes. So people who are, they might be running a shift at Sonic or they're doing a factory deal, find that inner passion, right?
Oh, absolutely. And I think that doing those jobs, though, actually helps you find that. Like, for instance, my little sister is working her first, like, job, and she came home the other day. This is the most endearing moment ever, my mom just told me. She came home the other day after she had to clean the bathrooms for the first time.
Where?
At a country club. I don't know exactly.
It's around here somewhere.
Yeah, so around here somewhere. But she came home and she looked at mom and she goes, I'm so sorry. I didn't do anything around here. Like, ever.
Yeah.
And she's like, thank you.
And you're welcome.
My mom's like, can I get that on, like, recording, please?
Yes. Did you ever have a job?
I was a gymnastics teacher.
Okay, so you did the lessons
That was it,
one-on-one.
though. I did that, and then every other job I had to do with music. So, like, it was still,
Yeah.
it was a job.
Whatever happened to the old Kylie Morgan bus?
Oh, man, I don't know.
Are you serious?
I don't know what happened
Got
to
rid of
it.
it?
I mean, no, it wasn't mine, technically. It was the
Oh, really?
labels that I was on. And so when we parted ways, it stayed parked there for a long time, and then suddenly it just wasn't there anymore. So
It is.
I was like, I don't know. TBD.